What's up, fam? Brandon Walker, more Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast here on SEC Country, coming to you from the SEC Country studios once more on a beautiful, clear Atlanta day here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. So happy to be here in the SEC Country studio. I've got Terp on the other side of the glass. He's back. He's actually dressed up today, so I'm throwing off my game a little bit. Used to seeing you in sweatpants over the last couple of weeks, but
I look good today.
Are you moving the camera to show my socks? Is that what you're doing? I'm not even wearing polka dot socks today. I'm wearing average socks.
I'm wearing polka dot socks.
Oh, you are.
Yeah,
you are.
Uh-huh.
Well, here comes Landshark in here to change the camera. Thank you, Hannah Chalker. You do a great job. Hey, on SEC Country Live, by the way, you're pulling everything. You just pulled everything.
Just pulled the main camera too. Smooth.
Landshark.
Smooth.
So yeah, there we go. All right, let's straighten that up. Okay. I got Landshark on the other side of the glass. I got Terp. They are doing their best. We're having a good time here on SEC Country. More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast. Thank you for being here today. We're going to talk recruiting. We're going to talk with Steve Robertson of 247sports.com. We'll talk Mississippi State recruiting. Everything's going good. We'll talk about Jake Mangum returning to Mississippi State for his senior season. Mississippi State's best baseball player, I guess, since he got on campus about 3 years ago. Jake Mangum, fantastic player, fantastic human being, fantastic Bulldog. He'll be back for his senior year. We will talk about, John Cohen and this coaching search. Dan McDonnell from Louisville has pulled his name out. He is staying at Louisville, and it looks like this coaching search could be on the verge of not being very pleasant, not being all that great. But I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet. I'm not ready to jump off the bandwagon yet. I am still right there with Cohen. I think the path still exists to hire a pretty good coach. We'll see. We'll have to monitor that. Charlotte Nairn from California. Go Dogs. Thank you, Charlotte. Hail State from Noonan, Georgia. Dickie Delishment. Hey, another coach's search has us a little down, but at least we didn't get beat out of our own regional by Tennessee Tech, says Joseph Pollard. Correct. That is accurate. Butch and Jake G, maybe the best two coaches left, says Drew Newell. I don't think that's right. It could be. I mean, we might hire one of them, but I find that attitude odd. Butch and Jake Gautreau might be the best two coaches left, and that's just because two guys pulled their names out, Schlossnagle and McDonnell. There are hundreds of baseball coaches in this country at this level. I don't understand that attitude. Ringgold, Georgia, loving more Cowbell, Danny E. Pinter. Darnell Watts Juzang, Hail State from Gulfport. William Walters checking in from Canton, Georgia, right up I-575. Go Dog says Tracy Davis from Point City. Carrie Orr from the Shoals. The Shoals in Alabama, right? I believe that's right. Why do you think the coaching prospects are backing out, Chad Edwards? Because it's very, very rare to get. I don't know why Schlossnagle pulled out. I don't know if Schlossnagle did pull out. I've heard he pulled out. I've heard we pulled out. I'm not sure what happened there. Dan McDonnell, he pulled out because it's hard to get an elite coach to move. Once they built their program in baseball, it's hard to get them to move. It is darn near impossible. It is very, very rare. And I thought we were about to pull it off. We haven't yet. I just can't rule out a name out there that we haven't heard yet. Hail State from Houston, Texas. Stephanie Landau Salinas. If State makes the College World Series, Henderson may get the job, says Bill Hurt. I still don't think Gary Henderson's going to. There's a world where Gary Henderson's the new coach. But certainly if he makes the College World Series, that'll be a heck of an accomplishment. Henderson could be retained, says Tim. Okay, I'm not reading the name Henderson. If Henderson's in there again, I just can't read it. Listen, God bless Gary Henderson. And Gary Henderson might, he's done a fantastic job, but I don't know if he's going to be the coach or not. I just don't. Flowwood here, says Darren Butler. Hail State from GTA, Point City, Stark Vegas, and Possum Town, Myron Johnson. Good morning from Lynn Rhodes Gilmer in Sullivan, Alabama, at McDonald's with her two grandkids. Will Terp and Landshark go with you to help with the new show? And I noticed this comment has been pinned. Yes, Terp and Landshark are going with me. I'm keeping them. They are going to be on retainer. I've acquired a business license, and I've got plenty of money, and I'm going to pay them, what do you guys think, 40, 50, 60 bucks an hour? Can you sit out here and host it? Yes, absolutely. Who's going to sit in there and do that?
Someone.
That guy right there. That guy. Hail State from Florence, Mississippi. Let's hire Brandon Walker and Terp, says Zach Dickerson. He's a Mets fan. He knows nothing about baseball.
LGM.
Grace Thacker Good says, well, she says, yeah. I don't know what she's saying yet, too. But we'll have Steve Robertson on directly to talk about recruiting. Also, at the end of the show, we'll have Thursday Throwback Trivia. I know you guys love that. I hope my trivia guys are here. Jay Hammer says, Brandon, what is up with that coach dude last night seemingly celebrating that Luke Alexander didn't get drafted? How sad is his life? Yeah, I'd rather not give that guy spotlight on this show. Period. Butch may be on the short list now. The players loved him, says Bill Hurt. Butch probably is on the short list. He probably is. I think the short list, Godwin over at East Carolina might be on the short list. I'll talk about why fans would be disappointed with either of those hires, even if they shouldn't be, later on in the show. Can State make it to Omaha? Yeah, absolutely State can make it to Omaha. They're in the Super Regional. All they got to do is win 2 out of 3 against Vanderbilt, a team that wasn't any better than Mississippi State this year. So can Mississippi State go to Omaha? Yes, 100%. Hail State from Louisville, Kentucky. Chris Crawford. Orioles are going to make Buck Showalter available soon. Tim Franks, he's a Major League Baseball manager. Never recruited. That's not something State should be interested in. Why are we always the butt of the joke on SEC Country Live? No one takes us seriously in football because SEC fans outside of their own school really aren't that smart about SEC football. And like today, one of the topics on SEC Country Live was going to be Phil Steele's surprise teams in college football this year. He has Mississippi State on the list. If you're surprised by Mississippi State being good this year, that's on you. That's on you. If you're surprised by Mississippi State being good in 2018 in football, you don't know what you're talking about, or you haven't been paying attention, because I'm telling you they're going to be good. There's not going to be any surprise here. State can be national champs. All things are possible at this point. Burnell McGee. Danny E. Pinter and Drew Newell both say we are going to Omaha. And I've got a pinned comment there. I want you guys to look at it. Facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show. Cox, which owns SEC Country, decided to fire all of us. June 30th, we're out of here. But I am going to keep going. I'm going to keep going with the show. I'm going to go into business for myself. I've already had some very charitable donations from businesses and other people. I got my Patreon that I'll get to in a second. And I'm going to set up a place for a one-time donation as well. But we'll start that page. We'll start that show in July on Facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show. That's Facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show. It's on your screen. Go like it. Go like that page. And by the way, I am wearing my beautiful Mississippi logo here shirt from Maroon & Company at maroonandco.com. I'll get to that on the podcast. So, yeah, we'll have Steve Robertson up shortly. Anybody have anything to talk about? No. So, Terp. Again, Steve Robertson, Jake Mangum, McDonald pulling out, and Thursday Throwback Trivia. That's our show for today. Terp, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you laughing that I said pulling out? Yes, okay. I figured you were. Let's go.
It's the More Cowbell Show, brought to you by SEC Country. And now, your host of the More Cowbell Show, Brandon Walker.
That's me, Brandon Walker. More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. I just scared the crap out of that person that was walking by. Did you see that? They did not expect that. They did not see that coming. Brandon Walker, More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast here on SEC Country. We are ringing in here on a Thursday. I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be anywhere. I'm so excited to be getting direct deposits every 2 weeks for this job, at least until June 30th. Today on the show, we're going to talk recruiting, football recruiting. I've been trying to do it all week, so we finally got Steve Robertson. He is going to come on the show, and he's going to talk recruiting. Steve Robertson of 247sports.com. We'll talk football recruiting. We'll also talk about who will we talk about? Jake Mangum. Jake Mangum, the fantastic center fielder for Mississippi State, has announced he's coming back. That's fantastic. McDonald, over there at Louisville. Not Dan McDonald not coming to Mississippi State. He's decided to stay at Louisville. Whatever. I'll discuss that and the ramifications for the coaching search. Then we'll have Thursday throwback trivia. Let me do some business before I get to Steve Robertson. Steve, if you can hear me, just hold on just a second. As I tell you, I'm wearing this beautiful Mississippi polo from Maroon & Company. It is, and I say Mississippi, it's a Mississippi logo. It's obviously a Mississippi State shirt. MaroonandCompany.com or MaroonandCo.com, at Maroon & Co on Twitter and Instagram. It's where I get all my Mississippi State gear. Fantastic place. I also got this junction bell from there. You can see that. That's a beautiful cowbell. One of a kind. Get it at Maroon & Company. Best place you can go. You can get lost on their website, maroonandco.com. Now, Facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show. Please give that page a like. That will be our home after June 30th when SEC Country says you can no longer keep coming here and getting a paycheck. Now, Steve Robertson covers recruiting and a lot of things in the state of Mississippi better than anybody else, and he is always charitable with his time when it comes to coming on the show and discussing Mississippi State football recruiting. Steve, thank you for being here.
Always glad to be here, Brandon. Always nice when we can get together and converse the greatest sports program in the history of the state of Mississippi.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Mississippi State, well, first of all, we'll get to baseball at the end because I know you're a big baseball fan. I know you're a big baseball guy. A lot of people kind of pigeonhole you into recruiting, but you are a big baseball fan. This run has to be incredible for you.
Brandon, the best thing about it is anytime you get something that's unexpected in your life, you know what I mean? It's like many of us a couple months ago had kind of given up on the season and felt like that, baseball wouldn't be part of our summer. And it has been, and I think it's one of those surprises that when you look back on it, I think years from now, I think the way that Elijah McNamee struck that ball will change the perception of how Mississippi State fans view the 2018 season. I think it's good to get some positive things to talk about rather than all the off-the-field nonsense that we've dealt with the past 90 days.
You know, it is fun to be able to watch your team play baseball into June. Not everybody in Mississippi can say that.
Well, it's kind of, what this is, when you say that, Brendan, it's something that we've kind of grown accustomed to as recent years here in Mississippi State, and I know it's kind of an anomaly for other people to actually have some hardware to put into their baseball complex. But we do that with great regularity, and I'm eager to see us do it with even grander trophies and grander banners in the years to come, and that's what I'm hoping this new coaching change will bring for us.
Let's go to football recruiting. It had a huge weekend last weekend. Camp season opened up, and Mississippi State just, bam, they made a big splash with 3 commitments. I know when we talked last, you maybe saw 1 commitment coming. I don't think you saw 3 commitments coming out of that first weekend, did you? Am I off base there?
Now, I thought for sure we'd get 1, maybe 2, and I think Darius Washington was one that I wasn't quite expecting quite so soon. I thought that might be a big dog thing, but offensive line recruiting is always a topic of conversation at Mississippi State. Doesn't matter who the coach is or who the offensive line coach is. Anytime you can go out and get a guy with him with his offer sheet, it's a great get from Mississippi State. That's the one that kind of surprised me a little bit. Jack Harris, you've been expecting that, I guess, in February, and Jerry Jones, I absolutely love him. I've been expecting him to recommit since he decommitted.
Jerry Jones, the 6'2", 200-pound safety from, I believe, Northwest Rankin High School, was committed to Oklahoma. You never wavered. 6 weeks ago when he committed to Oklahoma, you told State fans to be patient. You felt like he was always going to come back and sign with Mississippi State. Why did you think that, and what is State getting in this guy?
Well, by and large, if you look at the history of Mississippi players that have gone to Oklahoma in recent years, that they haven't accomplished a whole lot. I think that's something to be considered. But also, too, just the commitment that it takes for your family to go watch you play college football is tremendous. And, when you're at Northwest Rankin, right down the road here, right down 25, I mean, your mom and dad could get up in the morning, drive up, go to the ball game, and get home and not even spend a tank of gas, whereas it's a tremendous commitment to have to make that 9.5-hour drive to Norman, Oklahoma, and you get a hotel, and you got to feed everybody. And I just think that it was one of those things for him that in the end, he would like to stay closer to home so that the people that he loves, the people that he really cares about, would be able to share in the experience with him. And I think there's something about representing the state of Mississippi that has kind of resonated with him. And shortly after he committed to Oklahoma, he realized that he had kind of made a mistake, and so it was just a matter of time before he came back around. But I think that he is a guy with NFL potential. He's a guy that understands how to elevate to get football. He could make a really good college receiver, if that's the need. And I think that maybe that's something they look at as they get a little deeper into the class, because I think that the safety prospects right now might be a little more plentiful than the wide receiver prospects as far as Mississippi State. These guys first enough to do whatever you need him to do. But excited about his recommitment to the class. He is already recruiting very hard to get others in the state of Mississippi to join him in Starkville. And that's where I believe you'll see maybe some more immediate dividends from his commitment. It's just his influence on other players around the state.
A couple of more names I want to talk about in recruiting because State has built a lot of momentum in the first week of the camp season. A couple of more names to really watch, or at least I'm watching. John Emery is one, a 4-star running back out of Louisiana. He tweeted a couple of days ago he is going to commit somewhere on July 7th. I feel like State has been gaining momentum with this guy. I feel like State has really been doing a lot of work in running back recruiting. Is it possible? I mean, does it feel like this to you that State is really in a good position with John Emery with him committing on July 7th?
I think State's in a great position with John Emery with him committing on July 7th. And one of the reasons why is because he wasn't exactly sure of his time frame for a decision until after he came back and made a return visit to Mississippi State. Anytime that you have an announcement of a decision date coming shortly after a visit somewhere, you got to feel good about your chances, especially this time of year. It'd be one thing if it was December, you're getting ready to have signing day, but this is kind of an arbitrary date. He picks a date, and he came down from Mississippi State Super Bulldog weekend, and things really changed. State had been on him for a while, couldn't get him in junior day, and several times he was committed to coming up, and then finally Mom and Dad said, hey, we'll be up for the spring game. Well, Mom and Dad didn't come, but John Jr. came along with a good friend and a girlfriend, and then from that point forward, things really took a step maybe towards some importance, I guess you could say. It was no longer a casual type deal. He came up here and liked it a lot better than I think he anticipated. Charles Huff done a tremendous job recruiting them, and then now all of a sudden John's like, hey, listen, Mom and Dad, I want to go back. I want you guys to come with me. And they come up. He doesn't go through camp or anything. He just comes and it brings the whole family. And anytime that you bring the whole family, you go through that type of commitment to be here for that. It's not just a casual affair. And so he comes up, has a great time again. Mom and Dad come with him. They get to see all the academic support and all the programs that are in place to ensure that their son's going to get a college degree while he's here. And next thing you know, everybody's on board. We're announcing that, hey, I'm going to announce my commitment on July 7th. And I think at this point, the expectation is you're going to get him. He's a guy that has a real opportunity to be a big-time player in this offense. And I think that Charles Huff has really impressed upon him that he was the guy that coached Saquon Barkley, and they see a lot of similarities in him, and he could be a game breaker for us. And I think that is one of the most significant things that's happened since Joe Moorhead has got here is you've gone into state Louisiana, a team that has kind of made a living on running backs, and you've convinced one of the best players in that state that you're the better option. That's good recruiting.
Jaquay Hubbard is a 3/4-star offensive lineman, I believe, from Pennsylvania. Big-time guy, huge offers. He's another guy that seems to be trending towards State a little bit. I don't know when he's committing. Is that also a name to be watching? Because I know offensive line recruiting, you mentioned it already. State's having to go heavy on offensive line recruiting to make up for the foibles of the last staff that was at Mississippi State. So now you're going to start stacking offensive line recruits this year. Is Jaquay Hubbard a name that could be in the boat very soon?
Well, he's a name of interest for sure, and he's announced recently that he's going to commit sooner rather than later. One time he was planning to take all of his official visits and then make a decision at some point later in the year. Well, State stayed on him. He's taking an official visit here, and really the only issue with him is proximity to home. Loves the staff, loves the campus, loves his opportunities here, loves the depth chart. That's the only thing you kind of got to overcome is how far is it away from home. And really the only time that matters when you're far from home is when you're getting ready to go there. And really, how often do you make that trip, as a college athlete? Really, the issue with him is going to be how often Mom and Dad get to come see him play. And so that's really the chore right now for Marcus Johnson and Joe Moorhead is kind of convincing that family, he'll be okay, and, you guys can come see him as much as you like. And that's really the only issue. He loves it here, loves the staff, and you feel like if they can just handle that issue with geography, they can get him in. And then when you think about the way things work with Jerry and Jones, I could see a scenario where Hubbard elects to stay closer to home, perhaps go to Pitt. But I do think right now Mississippi State is the staff that he's most comfortable with.
Last question. I want to circle back to baseball because, again, you are a baseball guy. I know you make your big money on recruiting and, the investigations of other corrupt programs in the state, but you also are a big baseball fan. You love baseball. You love Mississippi State baseball. John Cohen has to hire a coach, and he has to hire one relatively soon, I would assume. So this has kind of taken on a life of its own with McDonald pulling out, Schlossnagle pulling out. Some State fans are panicking. I'm not choosing to panic yet. Where are you at with this thing, with this coaching search?
Well, I'm not panicking at all. I do get a little frustrated at times because we're in the middle of a great run in baseball, and I think right now that's where the focus could be. But I get the concern, and when these people come out and withdraw their name from consideration, it's embarrassing because you feel rejected, thinking, oh, we thought we were going to get this guy. And look, to be fair, Johnson said some things, in the media that it's kind of led people to believe, we're going to get a home run hire, we're going to go out and get somebody else, sitting head coach, a guy that's got experience in Omaha. And so that sets an expectation with fans. And then when they begin to think that perhaps that's not going to happen, their faith is somewhat challenged. And so they go to message boards and get on social media. And so, yeah, we need to hire a coach, but we need to hire the right coach. And I don't think you can panic and go make a decision just to kind of get it behind you, even if it takes a few days longer. I don't expect that we'll have a coach name until next week. I think this late in the process now, especially after McDonald pulled out, and that was kind of discussion yesterday, is that Mississippi State were in negotiations with Dan McDonald throughout the day and trying to convince him to come be the head coach of Mississippi State. I think now, with the team in Nashville and with Super Regionals coming, I don't think John wants to do anything to detract. I think he'll continue to talk to people, but I think there won't be an announcement until after the weekend at the soonest. And, of course, as soon as I say that, John will announce it in 30 minutes. But
right.
This has been a very unpredictable situation. But I think in the end, we're going to get a great coach. We've got a great facility. We've got a great fan base. We've made an unbelievable commitment to baseball in Mississippi State. Fans are going to be rewarded. It may not be the big names that we all kind of envisioned early in the process, but I'm confident John Cohen's going to find a great coach for Mississippi State, and we're going to go out and compete in championships on a regular basis.
You know what's amazing to me? Mississippi State in two sports this year has found themselves in an incredible position that nobody else – it's very, very rare, and it's going to happen twice. When Mississippi State lost Dan Mullen and he left, and you go out and hire Joe Moorhead, you're bringing Joe Moorhead in to coach a loaded football team, an absolutely stocked football team. Well, guess what? No matter what happens with the coaching search, Mississippi State's about to play for a chance to go to Omaha. They could very well be in the College World Series this year, and they are in a position to possibly return almost the entire lineup next year. Now, you'll lose Connor Pilkington, and you'll need to kind of mix and match with pitchers a little bit, but he's got a chance. So we got a chance to have an absolutely loaded baseball team for a new coach, just like we gave Joe Moorhead a loaded football team. That's an incredibly rare position to be in. So whatever happens, I'm excited about it. What do you think about that?
I think it's a great point. And, Mississippi State, by and large, is a team that's in contention for the postseason every year. But you're right. This team for 2019 is going to be a team that returns just about the entire defensive lineup intact. And so whoever walks into this situation, it's not coming in rebuilding where you got to go out and go get the junior college kids and you got to take your lump with young kids. You're going to walk in next year with the expectation of possibly hosting a regional next year and having a chance to get to Omaha. If you can find a couple of frontline pitchers and a couple of guys that can swing the bat a little bit, you've got an opportunity to have as good a team as you've had this year. And remember, we've gone to Super Regionals 3 consecutive years. You've got an opportunity next year to do it 4 consecutive years. And I think that's one of the things that would make this an inviting job, not just because of the commitment, but the fact that you're not starting from scratch. You're inheriting a very, very good team that's in good standing and certainly one that's going to have a lot of experience and probably challenge for some big things in the Southeastern Conference next year.
All right, that's Steve Robertson of 247sports.com. Good things happening in recruiting, interesting things happening in baseball. Mississippi State going to Nashville to play for the chance to go to Omaha this week. Steve, what's your gut feeling? I know I've told you it was the last question like 3 times. What's your gut feeling this weekend?
Well, I feel good about the weekend. And I didn't feel quite as good until yesterday when we had the opportunity to speak with players. But their level of confidence right now is really high. A chance to visit with Elijah McNamee. Matter of fact, I just published a story while we were online here together about kind of the anatomy of that walk-up with Elijah McNamee. And he takes you all the way through the whole thing, about even before when they were in the field defensively, when he's talking to Jake Mangum in the outfield and how he didn't want that to be Jake Mangum's final at bat in Bulldog uniform. And so that confidence is something I think that it kind of breeds more confidence among other people. Ethan Small says that, it's tough to beat a team 3 times, and the Bulldogs are really tough to beat 5. And they're expecting to go up there and win the thing. And quite frankly, I think after talking to him yesterday, I expect them to go do it. I think we're going to find a way to do it. Every time I've counted this team out this year, they've surprised me, and I'm almost embarrassed to say that. But it's one of those situations where when their backs are against the wall, they seem to play their best baseball, and just when everybody's ready to give up on them, it's like they lean on one another, and somebody steps up, whether it be Dustin Skelton this past weekend doing a great job, or Cole Gordon pitching the game of his life in relief, or J.P. France coming in after his second appearance. I mean, there's a new hero every single day. I think that's one of the things that makes this team different from last year. Well, last year you depended so much on Brent Rooker to make the big play or to get the big hit. It's just a cast of characters, man, to kind of believe in one another, and I think they'll find a way to win. It may go into Sunday and maybe an extra inning affair, but you just never know who it's going to be. And maybe Zach Neff catches fire this weekend and does something unexpected. But I think it's one of those deals where you just simply can't count them out because they refuse to give up on themselves.
Yeah, I think they surprised everybody, Steve, not just you. They surprised everybody. I mean, they have absolutely shown the will of a champion so far, and it's going to be fun to watch whatever happens. I want to thank you for being on this show. I want to thank you for always being charitable with your time. I appreciate it, Steve.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Take care.
That's Steve Robertson of 24/7 Sports. Talked about recruiting. A lot of good things happening in football recruiting. A lot of good things happening in baseball. I got to breeze through the rest of the show because I'm a little behind, but Steve was giving me good content, so I kept adding questions. But Jake Mangum on Twitter yesterday, we've talked about him already. Jake Mangum, the 2016 Ferris Trophy winner for Best Player in Mississippi, the All-American, the heart and soul of Mississippi State baseball, announces yesterday after being drafted in the whatever round it was. He got drafted way later than anybody anticipated, in the 20s. For the last 3 years, it's truly been an honor to wear the Mississippi State uniform. I built lifelong relationships with great teammates and coaches, and being able to play at Duty Noble in front of the best college baseball fans in the country is something I'll never forget. With that being said, I'd like to thank all the major league teams that showed interest in me over the past 2 days, and especially the New York Mets for drafting me and giving me an opportunity to play at the next level. However, I'm thankful to return to MSU for my 4th and final season. But first, we have unfinished business in 2018. I am fired up. That is exciting. Best player on the team coming back next year. Makes a good decision to not go play for the New York Mets, because who would want to do that? Jake Mangum coming back. How do you not get excited? The heart and soul of this team has a chance to become, already is, has a chance to solidify himself as one of the most beloved student athletes in the history of Mississippi State. And we've had several of those lately. I would say Dak Prescott. In the last couple of years. Victoria Vivians, Morgan Williams, and Jake Mangum certainly in that class of just beloved Bulldogs, and coming back for his senior year. That is incredible. Mississippi State playing Nashville this weekend, playing Vanderbilt. But Dan McDonnell, I want to go very quickly over this because Steve kind of hit what I wanted to say. Dan McDonnell pulled out of the coaching search. So Schlossnagle and McDonnell, they are both gone. They are both out. And it's not, I don't think it's as big a deal as it feels like it is. And I understand why it feels like it is, because John Cohen went on statewide radio, He went on statewide radio, and he said the new coach will be a home run hire. He will have multiple College World Series experiences. He set parameters and created a profile that state fans are now anxious he's not going to be able to meet. It's a slippery slope. I understand that. It's a possible slip-up for John Cohen. I refuse to cave in and think he's going to make a bad hire. I think he'll make a good hire. And Schlossnagle and McDonnell, not the only 2 elite coaches in this country. You got to have a little imagination here. There might be somebody out there you're not thinking about, but he's going to have to get creative. We circled around these guys, the state fan base circled around these guys, and thought it's going to be one of them too. Based on the profile and the parameters Cohen set forth, it's going to be one of them too. And when it's not, state fans get disappointed. That's the problem. Cohen made a PR blunder, possibly. If he doesn't hire somebody that meets that profile, it's going to be a PR problem for him. If you don't hire that, the fan base will end up being disappointed. Now, putting the fan base's disappointment aside, John Cohen's probably going to make a good hire. John Cohen knows baseball. John Cohen is going to make a good hire. But if the fans are disappointed because of the profile that was set forth, it's not fair to the new coach, and it would be an unfortunate situation. All that being said, I still feel like John Cohen is a winner, and John Cohen is going to hire a big-time coach at Mississippi State. And furthermore, even further than that, Mississippi State is playing for a chance to go to Omaha on Friday, Saturday, and possibly Sunday. They are playing to become one of the 8 teams that play for a national championship. There are times in my life I would have worried about this coaching search. Right now, with Jake Mangum back, right now with this team doing what it's done with Elijah McNamee's home run, with this team playing with the heart of a champion, with everything happening, I refuse to be bothered by this coaching search. I can't get upset about it because too many good things are happening in Starkville to focus on that. Thursday Throwback Trivia. Running a little behind, so I'll go very quickly here. Thursday Throwback Trivia on Facebook Live. I hope you're ready. I'm going to go quickly. Number 1, who is Mississippi State Baseball's highest MLB draft pick ever? Which Mississippi State baseball player went higher in the draft than anyone ever? Kim Neely says shocked but pumped about Jake Mangum returning. Jay Hammers with the correct answer right off the bat. It's an easy question. That was easy. That we kind of waded into the pool today. Will Clark in 1986 was the number 2 pick overall. The number 1 pick of the San Francisco Giants. He went in the first round, 2nd pick overall. Now it gets a little more difficult. Number 2, who is Mississippi State's highest MLB draft pick in the 2000s? Since 2000, who is the highest draft pick in Major League Baseball from Mississippi State? Bill Hurt says, hey, I wasn't my wife's first choice. Me and you both, brother. After 35 years, she made a good hire. Can't say my wife did. Rooker, no. Chris Stratton, also no. Hunter Renfroe from Isaac Sparks, no. Renfroe, no. Stratton, no. Rooker, no. Not Renfroe, it's not Rooker, it's not Holder, it's not Stratton, not Will Clark. That was the answer earlier. It's not Dakota Hudson. It's not Rooker. It's not Renfroe. It's not Rooker. It's not Holder. Scott Carr, with the first correct answer that I've seen. Scott Carr knows that in 2003, Paul Maholm was the number 8 pick in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft. Paul Maholm, the number 8 pick of the, I think, Pittsburgh Pirates at the time. So Paul Maholm, the correct answer. Number 3. One other, in addition to Will Clark, who was picked 2nd overall, one other Mississippi State baseball player has been drafted in the top 5 of the Major League Baseball draft. Who is it? One other top 5 draft pick from Mississippi State. Who was it? It's not Jay Powell. Somebody said Jay Powell in the 90s. Yeah, Paul Maholm. Didn't realize he was that high of a pick. Dale Unser. Not correct. Rafael Palmeiro was the 22nd pick. He was not that high. He was the 22nd pick in the draft in 1986. Johnny Cooks, I am talking baseball. I did say Major League Baseball. Johnny Cooks was the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. Palmeiro, Thigpen, Palmeiro, none of this is correct. None of this is correct. I will give you a hint. It happened in the 1990s. It happened in the 1990s. Will this be the first one that doesn't get answered correctly? Will this be the first time I stump you guys? Jeff Brantley is not correct. Neither is Thigpen. You guys are going slow here today. Bob Carskadden? No. Toby Denton, why did you Google? Why did you ruin things? I don't like that. I'm not going to ban Toby Denton, but I don't like what he just did. It's B.J. Wallace. That makes me mad. I don't like that. Number 4, B.J. Wallace, 1992, was the number 3 pick in the draft for the Montreal Expos. Number 4, these 2 players share Mississippi State's single-season record for touchdown catches with 12. Who are they? These 2 players share Mississippi State's touchdown catch record in a season with 12. Yeah, it was B.J. Wallace, number 3 pick. I don't know why you would Google it. We're having fun. We're out here having fun. Jay Hammers is correct. Fred Ross and Chad Bumpus. Fred Ross and Chad Bumpus. The most touchdown catches in a season, both had 12. Fred Ross, Chad Bumpus. Number 5, which Mississippi State men's basketball player holds the freshman scoring record? Which Mississippi State freshman basketball player scored more points than anybody? Freshman scoring record at Mississippi State. Freshman scoring record, Mississippi State. Basketball, men's basketball. James King says, "Where's Hey Dad?" I don't think we figured out how to unblock him yet. He's still blocked. Jamont Gordon is incorrect. Also, D. Bost is incorrect. Darrell Wilson incorrect. Dampier incorrect. Walker incorrect. Rick Ray, funny but incorrect. Dampier, Malone, Dampier, none of these are right. None of these are right. Jamont Gordon, still not right. Barry Stewart, not right. Not Jeff Malone. It's not Dampier. It's not Bailey Howell. It's not Quindary Weatherspoon. I told you I'm going to stump you once today, and I think I've got you. Greg Grimm, no. Timmy Bowers, no. Lawrence Roberts wasn't a freshman here, Mandy Fowler. Tyrone Washington, no. Spud Webb didn't play here. Dampier, no. Newman, no. Winsome Frazier, no. Victoria Vivians did not play for Mississippi State men's basketball. Bart Heitch, that's hilarious. Whit Hughes, also funny. Rayburn Johnson, no. Watts, no. I'm going to call it. In 1976 and 1977, Ricky Brown averaged 19.3 points a game, the most ever by a freshman at Mississippi State University. Ricky Brown in 1976 and 77, 19.3 points a game. I stumped you guys. The champion. And number 6, I'm going to stump you again. In 1995, Mississippi State scored 123 points in a game. It's the most they've ever scored in one game in 1995. Who was the opponent? See, I'm teaching you guys something. We're learning. I didn't know that about Ricky Brown, but I looked it up, and I asked you the question, and now you know that about Ricky Brown. And at least they didn't Google it. D. Curtis, you're right. I'm proud of you guys. Mac McBrayer says Ricky Brown. Well, somehow you got it. Okay, you guys Googled that. Dickie Delschmidt and Jay Hammers, you both Googled that. There's no way you both knew right offhand that it was Troy State. Troy State was the correct answer. Mississippi State scored 123 points against Troy State in 1995, most they've ever scored in a game. So that is Thursday Throwback Trivia. I noticed Toby hadn't said anything since I busted on him for Googling. But that's okay. Toby, we're okay. You're forgiven. I'm over it. My name's Brandon Walker. Facebook Live, here I come. I'm coming right back to you. You've been listening to More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. Yeah, Ricky Brown and B.J. Wallace. B.J. Wallace, number 3 pick in 1992. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I know B.J. Wallace didn't have a long, productive Major League Baseball career. Eric Dubose was also a high pick in the 90s, but B.J. Wallace, number 3. SC LSU says Daniel Browning. No, that's not right. I was at the Troy State game, says Dickie Delschmidt. Okay, well, that would make sense. That would make sense. If you were there and saw it, then that makes sense. That was back when Troy, I think they might even still have it, but Troy State used to have an offense where it was designed to get as many shots up as possible. They would take the ball out of the basket, go shoot it within 5 seconds, and so you would get a lot of possession. You going to do a show before, after the game, tomorrow, or both? Chad Edwards. If State wins, I'll probably do a post-game. Tomorrow, I'm not sure, though. I might wait until the series is over. Any decision on relocation after 6:30? Steve C. No, I want to come back to Mississippi, but I got to stay here until June 30th. I might stay here through the summer, but I hope this ends. I hope this saga ends with me and my family living back in Starkville, I hope. Google is ruining everything, says James King. B.J. Wallace killed a man while driving under the influence and was arrested for meth when I was at State. Sad story. I did not know that. I did. I don't know why I didn't know that. Hope this search doesn't mirror the recent Tennessee search. It won't, Tim Franks, and I'll tell you why. The only problem with Tennessee's search is it was very embarrassing for the university. It was very embarrassing the way it was conducted. They actually hired somebody and then got pressured into not hiring him, but it was a football hire. John Cohen could go out and hire an active sitting clown, an actual clown with the makeup and everything, and bring him and introduce him as baseball coach, and the only people that would really say anything about it would be Mississippi State fans. We'd be mad. Maybe Ole Miss fans would laugh at us. But nationally, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about who you hire in baseball. It's huge to us. It's huge to Ole Miss. It's huge to some teams in the SEC. But Tennessee was a national embarrassment. That was hilarious from everybody. But I don't think anybody's going to care. Is this the week that Friday shows start? Bill Anderson, it is not. It is not. We've gone through 2 coaches. People need to calm down. This is nowhere close to a Tennessee coach. Yeah, that's what I've been trying to say. It's 2 coaches. It is 2 coaches. Now, I know you thought you'd pick Schlossnagle or McDonald, and that's the names we've all circled, and that's the names we all thought we were going to get. We're not getting them. And there are hundreds of baseball coaches in this country. There are dozens of big-time coaches in this country. Toby Denton says he actually binged it. That's not true. Nobody bings anything. Who bings anything? So what year did we adopt the cowbell? Do you know? I've never adopted a cowbell. I have 4 kids. I don't have to adopt cowbell. Brandon watched you on SEC Country Live the other day. You didn't have Nick in the top 3. Where do you rank him? I have him right at 3. I have him at 3/4. And I have him at 3 because with the ability to go to number 1. But coming into the season, not knowing, I feel like he's going to be 100% healthy. But I'm just kind of putting him at 3 and telling him, hey, go get number 1. But I would have Stidham, Locke, and Fitzgerald as my top 3. Front runners for baseball coach, Kevin Wilcher. I know as much as you do. And I'll tell you what this has proven. Nobody knows anything. Nobody. Like the fans that are asking Steve Robertson, that are asking Gene, that are asking Brian Haydad, that are asking me, I'm going to go ahead and speak on behalf of those guys. They would never say it. We don't know. We don't know. John Cohen isn't telling anybody. We don't know who the coach is. People are trying. They're trying to get source. They're trying to do this. If you listen to sources, Schlossnagle was the coach 2 weeks ago. If you listen to sources, Dan McDonald would have been the coach. But nobody's been right yet. Nobody knows. I enjoyed you going full out on LSU. It was hilarious. Thank you very much. The Expos passed on Derek Jeter to select B.J. Wallace. Expos are no longer a team. It would have been hilarious if they had picked Derek Jeter because he would have been – you wouldn't know the name Derek Jeter today. Him getting drafted by the Yankees is the only reason we're ever going to remember that guy as a legend. Brandon Walker would make a great hire. Imagine the dugout antics. Yeah, it would get rough. It would get rough. Isaac Sparks says, I saw on Twitter the other day where a sports magazine media had State finishing 4th in the West in football behind Bama, Auburn, and A&M. Thoughts of having A&M before us? Is that not a bunch of crap? Isaac Sparks, it is indeed a bunch of crap. If you look at Texas A&M and you look at Mississippi State coming into the season and you say, I like the Texas team better than the Mississippi State team, you don't know what you're talking about. You are not paying attention. Mississippi State is loaded. Texas A&M got some talent. As a guy on SEC Country Live the other day says, no, Brandon, Texas A&M's better. They've been recruiting better. Yeah, they've been recruiting better for 5 and 6. They've been recruiting better in Mississippi State forever. That didn't stop them from getting their ass kicked last year, 35-14 in College Station. Didn't stop them from getting their ass kicked 2 years ago when they came to Mississippi State's number 4 team in the country. They are a soft football program. If you put Texas A&M ahead of Mississippi State, you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. My bad. I wish that Texas A&M fan would show up. Every time on SEC Country Live, he's chirping at me and saying this about Mississippi State, saying that, oh, Texas A&M is better than Mississippi State. Really? You're better than Mississippi State? Then why the hell don't you ever beat them? I feel like this is the best year for us to win the West. Tim Frank says Derek Jeter is untouchable. He's a legend. Well, if you're a Yankees fan, I guess he is. Brandon 1, A&M 0. Not hard to beat A&M. I joined a pretty big group beating A&M. What? Where is this coming from? See, I wondered all spring. Who is going to be the team? Who is going to be the team that inexplicably gets put ahead of Mississippi State by the media? And I think I'm getting the answer. I think it might be Texas A&M. I thought it was going to be LSU, but people seem to be, coming to their senses about LSU and Ed Orgeron, how bad he is. But I think it's going to be A&M. I think you'll have media put Texas A&M ahead of Mississippi State. And for what? For what? You love teams going 1-3 in November every single year. You love teams that fall apart. You love Jimbo Fisher, a coach who went 6-7 with a better team last year. You think he's going to come in and fix a culture that is absolutely broken? Oh. The media is lazy. Look at recruiting rankings and name on jersey, and that is how they decide. Brad Griffith, they do. They look at recruiting rankings. Why are we so caught up? Is it already 12:31? Why do we get hung up on recruiting after they've already proven they're not very good? Like, you look at Texas A&M or you look at Auburn, you look at these teams, and 4 years after they've had a good recruiting class, you say, oh, they got a lot of talent. Really? They went 6-6 last year. They got a lot of talent? What if the whole time Cohen is coming back as the coach, he does fit the qualities we're looking for? That would be an ultimate. That'd be like Vince McMahon. That'd be an ultimate heel move. That'd be incredible. It's only because of Jimbo Fisher that people want to put them up so high. Without Jameis Winston, he couldn't win anything in a worse conference. He's going to go to the best division in college football and start beating Alabama and Auburn. Okay. I've been told I have to get off the air, and I'm just now getting fired up. So, SEC Country Live happens at 2 p.m. Central. I will be there. Texas A&M might come up. Mississippi State might come up. I'll be talking with Alabama All-American Mike Johnson. Does a good job. I'll be Landshark. I'm sorry. Me and Hannah Chalker, Landshark, will be hosting that show at 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Central. So please come and watch that. If you don't, I will never forgive you. I'll probably forgive you. I've got to get off of here. My name is Brandon Walker. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I don't have time to run through my stuff. Facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show. Facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show. Please go give me a like on that page. I would appreciate it. I won't run through anything else. Patreon.com/More Cowbell. Patreon.com/More Cowbell. If you want to email me, morecowbellshow@gmail.com. Please email me. Patreon.com, More Cowbell. Give me money. Facebook.com, More Cowbell Show. Like that page. Thanks. I'm leaving. Brandon Walker. You've been watching More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by